Hello, today I'm showing you how to divide polynomials. In this specific case, we are dividing a polynomial by a binomial. So the first thing we are doing is we're taking the first term in this polynomial and we are dividing it by the first term in this binomial. So whenever we have a variable with no coefficient or no power written down, that means that the coefficient is actually 1 and that it's raised to the power of 1. I know that normally we don't write coefficients of 1 or powers of 1 just because it's not necessary. However, in this case, I'm writing them down so we can make a little more sense of the problems we're going to be solving later on. So now, 5 divided by 1 would give me 5. Now, remember what happens with the powers whenever a division of terms happens. I need to subtract the powers. 3 minus 1 will result on 2, so I'm putting my x to the power of 2. Now, I'm going to multiply this answer that I got times the first term in the binomial. Naturally, since multiplying is the inverse operation of dividing, that means that whenever I multiply this term times this term, I'm going to get the exact same term that I have here, so I'm going to put it down here. And now I'm multiplying the answer that I got previously times the second term that we have here. 5 times negative 2 will result on negative 10. No variable and no exponent in these terms, so I just go ahead and bring the variable and exponent that is here down here. Now notice how this and this are like terms, the same way this and these are like terms. Now what I'm doing is that I'm placing these two terms that I got inside a parenthesis, and outside the parenthesis I'm putting a negative sign. So now I'm using the distributive property to distribute this negative sign to each of the terms that I have here using multiplication. Negative times positive gives me negative, so that means that I'm going to subtract this term minus this term. Since these two are the same, then whenever a subtraction happens, it's going to give me 0, so that means that the terms cancel out. Let's take a look at this one. Negative times negative gives me positive. So that means that I'm carrying out an addition. This term plus this term right here, negative 13 plus 10 will result in negative 3. And I keep the variable and the exponent the exact same way. Now I'm bringing down here the next term that I have in my polynomial, positive 10x. And with these terms, I'm repeating the procedure that I carried out with these terms right here. So we need to divide. Negative 3 divided by 1 will result in negative 3. Remember what happens with the exponents, the subtraction of the powers. 2 minus 1 gives me 1. So it's going to be x to the power of 1. Since it's a power of 1, there's no need for me to write the little number 1 there. So I'll leave it like that. Now let's multiply this times this first term right here. Negative 3x times this term will result on negative 3x to the second power. Negative 3x times negative 2, negative and negative result in a positive, a 6, and no variable here, no exponent, so I just bring down the variable that I have here, down here. Now, parentheses. And I put the minus sign, the negative sign right here, so I can distribute. Negative times negative is positive. So negative 3x squared plus 3x squared will eventually give me 0, so that means it's going to cancel out. Now, negative times positive will result in negative, so 10 minus 6 will equal 4. And I just keep the same variable. Now, I'm bringing down the last term that I have here in my polynomial. The negative 8, I'm bringing it down, and I'm carrying out again the divisions. Now this term divided by this first term right here, 4 divided by 1, of course, is 4. And since in both terms I have an x to the power of 1, x to the power of 1 here, that means then that the variable is going to cancel out, so that will leave me only with the 4. Now let's multiply. 4 times this term right here will result in a positive 4. And I keep the variable that I have. Positive 4 times negative 2 will result in negative 8. I put the parenthesis and the negative sign to distribute it. Negative times positive gives me negative. 4 minus 4 will eventually result in 0, so that means that it cancels out. Negative times negative is positive, so I need to add negative 8 plus 8 will result in 0. So it will cancel out, and that would be my final answer. 0 as a reminder, and this would be the answer for dividing these two polynomials that I have right here. I hope this explanation was useful. Good luck in your test.